colleagues, former presiding officers and former members of the House of Representatives, the National Assembly, bureaucracy, present and former, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning and assalamu alaikum. Mr. Speaker, for those of us who were with Ghali between 1999 to 2003, will remember when the House was constituted in 1999, none of us had any experience of legislative duties. I couldn't remember any one of us in the House who had any experience. And again, we had an executive who was a former military head of state, a general, with no experience but full of credentials, governing the country. Somebody who was, at a time, the head of government, head of legislature, and even to some extent the judiciary. This was the situation under which Ghali Na'Abba found himself settled with the leadership of the House at that particular moment. For those of us who have or who know who Obasanjo was, and I believe is today, will understand the environment which Ghali Na'Abba operated upon. Thank God, Ghali Na'Abba came from a radical political background of Kano. It helped him a lot. It gave him courage to face the challenges of that time. There is no doubt. The history of legislation, and to the extent House of Representatives, cannot be written without a special place for Ghali Na'Abba. He paid his dues. He served his country, and even continued serving even after leaving office. One would have thought, coming from the background of Kano, like what former Speaker Gbajabiamila said, would have gone back to business as usual, but he chose to remain in the political limelight, making contributions, suggestions, and comments on national issues. He has paid his dues. May Allah grant him Al-Jannah Firdaus. For those of us, I'm not equating myself with Honorable Buhari and the tiger. You know, they put us where we belong. We were at the background, but watching, participating, we knew that Ghali Na'Abba was a distinguished Nigerian and parliamentarian. No doubt about it. He had the courage to provide leadership under the most difficult times. I keep on referring to those of us who were there in 1999. We know the attempts, we know the threats, we know what we have gone through between 1999 and 2003. Yet Ghali Na'Abba survived and completed his tenure as Speaker of House of Representatives. by that resilience which he has showed, really for those of us who are there and for those students of history like professors here, you know, by then he was on the other side while we were on the other side. Prof. So I think the sad part of it in Nigeria is that you are taken care of when you are dead instead of taking care of you when you are alive. We are very happy and pleased with what Honourable Speaker and principal and members of the House are doing to the families of late Ghali Na'Abba. He was a good man, a distinguished Nigerian, and we need to keep the families of those kind of people in good shape, so that will be an example for other leaders to say even if we are not around, our offspring will not suffer unnecessarily. I didn't know that I would speak. I would have come with a prepared speech, but I didn't know that because I always yield the floor in this matter like to Buhari, the leader of the minority. You know, at that time he was leader of minority, but we were able to swallow him because our majority was absolute. But we had more internal problems than from the minorities. Mr. Speaker, let me use this opportunity to remind ourselves this democracy today is 24 years. We are dealing with a population, young voters who have no military experience. So we have no military excuse to give them. The more we keep up military is to think there's alternative to governance other than democracy. They don't know. So the responsibility is upon us now to provide leadership that will give them hope of a better life. Nigeria and globally, we are going into a kind of economic crisis. Example should be from us as leaders. We should lead by example. We should not, under any circumstances, luckily enough, some members of the opposition are here. In this fight to salvage Nigeria, we are in it all together, all of us. If there is any problem, it's going to consume all of us. Don't even think that Mr. A is in government, we are not in government, we are not involved. You are involved. The ordinary man on the street does not discriminate. When violence comes, arrests come, it doesn't discriminate. Hunger doesn't discriminate. So we must be careful. We must provide leadership by example. No more excuses. Because we don't have any, a 30-year-old voter today has no military experience. Because when this journey started in 1999, he was only 6 years old. Can you tell him that military is this, military is that? You can't. He sees you and me. He sees how we behave. So please, this hallowed chamber, you represent the people. You are not representing geography. You are representing people. So please, let us lead in such a way that we give hope to people of this country. Let us not lead. I don't know that they should read Animal Farm, but those of us who read Animal Farm, we know all are equal, but some are more equal than others. When we were small, when we were growing in a large compound, when our mothers cook food, distribute food or meat on a plate, the one who distributes will make sure that he collects last, not first. That's how leadership is. Leadership cannot grow fat when those who are being led are growing thin by the hour or by the day. You must guide this democracy. There is no better system than this. So let us not give our young ones the opportunity to think there is alternative to what is on ground. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for this opportunity. And to the families of Ghali Na'Abba, rest assured we are always with you, and may his justice soul rest in peace. Amen.